It is a beautiful Wednesday morning. Good morning and thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast. I'm Veronica Dan-Ikpoyi. I'm not here alone. I have Kemi Fola-Adeyemo. It's an all-women affair this morning.
Absolutely. Super Sam, not here.
Not here
Good
today.
morning.
Yeah, good morning. All right, so many developing stories across the country, around the world. But the one that is concerning for me this morning that I'd like for us to speak on is the matter of food crisis. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations has come out to say that about 25 million Nigerians are being threatened with regards to food crisis from next year, between June and I think August, if nothing is done as quickly as possible. He said already, as we speak, about 17 million Nigerians are already facing food crisis, and then another 25 will be joining them as next year. And some of the states that are vulnerable to this food crisis are in Borno, Yobe, and I think Adamawa or so. And then he talked about those, especially IDPs, those in the IDPs, and some parts of, in some states and within the Federal Capital Territory, are the ones that will be facing this matter of food crisis. Although he's looking at intervention, but that government has to do something.
Absolutely. Government has to do the needful. But then this is a trend that we've been following all through the year. There's been, one factor after factor, especially the deadly floods that occurred, a few months back. Many grounds are still yet to be dry. Many farmlands, were lost with, essential food and other commodities also affected, and coupled with the issue of insecurity, and the like. Of course, insecurity, like we said yesterday, means different things to different people. For some people, it's banditry. For some people, it's kidnappers. For some people, it's the terrorists themselves. It's Boko Haram terrorists and IDPs, as you mentioned. This is a serious problem. Of course, these figures are being debated upon. The federal government, the Minister of Agriculture, is saying no, that's not the case. But, the voices on the other side are also saying otherwise, that government really needs to do more. CBN needs to do more to help farmers. Farmers really need to be helped at this time.
You recall the Anchor Borrower Scheme, when the government said that we are going to focus on agriculture, and we even shut our borders at some point because we wanted to see how we can, consume our own, what we produce and all of that. Yet it was not enough, even as at that time, before the floods. Now come look at all of the issues around insecurity, like you rightly mentioned, the flooding. And when we talk about the Anchor Borrower Scheme that the government came up with, when we speak with most of the farmers at the time, they tell you that these monies were not coming to them. It wasn't getting to them, the real farmers. It wasn't getting to them. So accessing credit was even a challenge for them at some point. Collateral, all of those demands being made by the banks, and that they cannot meet up, some of these farmers cannot meet up with the demands being made by the banks. These are the issues we believe that government needs to begin to look into. Yes, climate plays a major role.
True.
What are we doing at addressing that? We have always spoken about having holding dams. We know that at a certain period we have floods. But what have we done to address, this matter of flooding? Building holding dams such that when we can use them for irrigation at the right time. What are we doing to address that? State governments, local government, all levels of government have a role, a major role to play as we speak.
Especially if we add a bit more context now to our discussion, the fact that when you look at agriculture, people have said, statistics have proven that more women, are the people who farm. If you go to the farmlands, we have more women, which also goes to say that we have more people, more families, more dependents being at risk of famine, because so many people looking up to the women in many households now. The women are the breadwinners, and so you can imagine how enormous this challenge is on our hands. You're right. The issue of access to funds, when you look at how this is so much at risk for the women, or how women are so much at risk, they don't have access to these funds. Collateral is an issue. As much as they are doing these are the women, or these are the individuals who still don't get to enjoy property rights in many states. You know, there are still cultural issues that are working against the women. Of course, added with this issue of hunger looming for millions of many families.
I agree with you. And there's also the aspect of soaring prices with regards to produce, seedlings, and all of those. You want to get seedlings for your farm. We have soaring prices with regards to that. So it's still fertilizers and all that is necessary.
Before you now bring it down to markets now, the commodities.
Then we do not have storage.
Fuel is also
we do not have
issue,
storage,
right?
And we do not have the fuel. It's just a complex situation as we speak, and it has to be addressed. You know, we have to look at it in context, like you rightly pointed out, and address it as it stands. But basically, every level of government has a role to play at addressing this matter as we speak.